There is a $5 container of clear, syrupy liquid available at every hardware store in America right now that, applied to a hairline crack in a residential basement wall, penetrates the entire depth of the concrete, chemically bonds with the calcium silicate structure of the surrounding wall, precipitates crystalline mineral compounds inside every microscopic void connected to the crack, and permanently seals the wall against water infiltration for the remaining service life of the foundation. The professional foundation waterproofing industry charges between $3,500 and $35,000 to solve the same problem, using essentially the same chemistry, applied through a 15-minute procedure that any homeowner can perform themselves with a trigger sprayer and a pair of nitrile gloves. The chemistry has been publicly available in the industrial construction supply chain continuously since the 1860s. It has been continuously used by the professional foundation repair industry across the entire modern era, and it has been quietly kept off the residential consumer market by the same recurring revenue economics that keeps most low-toxicity, durable, low-cost home maintenance chemistry from ever appearing on the mainstream retail shelf where the average homeowner might notice it exists. Start with the scale of the problem, because the specific numbers explain why the professional waterproofing industry has become as large as it has. According to data compiled by the American Society of Home Inspectors, approximately 60% of American single-family homes report some form of basement moisture problem across the ownership period, ranging from occasional damp patches on foundation walls to catastrophic flooding during heavy rain events. The Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety documents combined annual damage from residential water infiltration in the United States exceeding $20 billion per year, incorporating structural repair costs, mold remediation, ruined personal property, lost real estate value, and elevated homeowner insurance premiums for properties with documented water damage histories. Approximately 80% of that damage originates from cracks in poured concrete foundation walls, concrete block foundation walls, and the joints between the foundation and the interior concrete slab. Most of those cracks are small. Most are structurally insignificant. Most are what foundation engineers classify as non-structural shrinkage cracks, produced by the normal contraction of poured concrete during the first 2 years after installation, as the material continues to cure and lose the excess water incorporated during the original pour. The cracks are dimensionally stable. They do not grow larger over time. They do not indicate structural failure of the foundation. They simply provide an open channel through which groundwater in the surrounding soil migrates into the interior of the basement, and once inside the basement, produces the visible dampness, the musty smell, the peeling paint on the interior wall surfaces, and the eventual mold colonization that turns a functional basement into a health hazard. The professional foundation waterproofing industry has developed multiple approaches to solving this problem across the last century. The oldest approach, still commonly quoted to homeowners by traditional foundation contractors, is exterior excavation. A contractor rents a small excavator, digs a trench along the outside of the affected foundation wall down to the footing, applies a waterproof membrane coating and drainage board to the exterior surface, installs perimeter drainage tile at the base of the excavation, and backfills the trench with washed gravel and topsoil. The exterior excavation approach is thorough. It also costs between $12,000 and $35,000 for a typical residential home, requires access to the exterior wall, which may be blocked by landscaping, driveways, patios, or attached structures, and takes between 3 and 7 days to complete. The second approach, developed during the mid-20th century and now the dominant residential waterproofing product on the market, is interior drainage. A contractor breaks up the interior concrete slab along the perimeter of the basement, installs perforated drainage pipe at the base of the interior wall, connects the pipe to a sump pump system, and repours the slab over the new drainage assembly. Interior drainage costs between $6,000 and $18,000 for a typical basement installation. The system does not stop water from entering the basement. It manages the water that has already entered, routing it to the sump pump for discharge back to the exterior of the property. The third approach, which emerged during the late 1970s and became the industry standard for individual crack repair by the 1990s, is crack injection. A contractor drills small ports into the affected crack from the interior side of the wall, injects a specialized chemical sealant into the port under low pressure using a specialized applicator, and allows the sealant to travel through the crack under injection pressure until it emerges from the exterior surface of the wall or fills the entire crack volume. Crack injection is the fastest, cheapest, and most targeted of the three professional approaches. A typical residential crack injection service call runs between $800 and $2,500 for a single crack, with multiple crack repairs quoted at proportional multiples. The specific chemistry the professional crack injection industry uses is one of two closely related material families, both of which have been available in the industrial supply chain for decades, and both of which any American homeowner can purchase at retail prices dramatically below the professional service quote. The first family is sodium silicate solution, chemically written as Na2SiO3, and marketed under the traditional trade name water glass. Sodium silicate was first stabilized in commercial liquid form by a German chemist named Johann Nepomuk von Fuchs, working at the University of Munich in 1818, and continuously manufactured commercially since that date under various brand names and formulations. The compound is a naturally occurring silicate mineral dissolved in water at concentrations between 40 and 50% solids. When sodium silicate contacts cured Portland cement concrete, the dissolved silicate ions chemically react with the calcium hydroxide naturally present in the concrete pore structure and precipitate crystalline calcium. Silicate hydrate compounds inside every microscopic pore and void the silicate solution can reach. The reaction is exothermic. It is self-accelerating, and the precipitated calcium silicate hydrate is chemically identical to the primary strength-producing phase in the original concrete itself. The sealed crack does not merely fill with a foreign material. The sealed crack becomes part of the wall again. The chemistry is the same underlying reaction that produced the concrete crack self-healing spray that dominated the professional waterproofing supplier catalogs across the last 3 decades. And that any American homeowner can buy at retail hardware stores today under multiple brand names for material costs between $5 and $20 per quart. The second material family is polyurethane injection foam. The polyurethane chemistry was originally developed by a German chemist named Otto Bayer at the IG Farben Chemical Company in Leverkusen, Germany, in 1937 as part of the Industrial Polymer Research Program that also produced the parallel developments of nylon and other early synthetic polymers. Bayer's polyurethane discovery involved the specific chemical reaction between a disocyanate compound and a polyol compound, which combines to form the class of polymers now called polyurethanes, used industrially in insulation foam, upholstery cushioning, rigid structural foam, elastomeric coatings, and, since approximately 1980, in specialized formulations designed specifically for the injection repair of concrete cracks. The specific injection-grade polyurethane formulations, when mixed with a small amount of water at the injection site, expand to approximately 20 to 30 times their original liquid volume, filling every void connected to the injection port, and cure into a flexible closed-cell foam that remains permanently bonded to the surrounding concrete and permanently sealed against water infiltration. The polyurethane approach handles slightly larger cracks than the sodium silicate approach because the expanding foam physically bridges gaps that the smaller silicate molecules could not fill through capillary action alone. If finding buried research and putting it back in plain view is the kind of story you want more of, hit the like button and subscribe. The simplest way to keep these videos reaching new people is for more people to share them. The residential consumer application of both chemistries follows a specific technique that any homeowner can execute in approximately 30 minutes per crack, using materials sourced from any hardware store or online industrial supply distributor. For the sodium silicate approach, appropriate for hairline cracks under 1/16 of an inch in width, the required materials are 1 quart bottle of industrial-grade sodium silicate solution sold under brand names, including PQ Corporation N-grade and various equivalents, at retail prices between $18 and $30 per quart, a standard trigger sprayer or squeeze bottle for application, nitrile chemical-resistant gloves, and safety glasses. Clean the crack surface with a stiff wire brush and a shop vacuum to remove loose debris, previous failed sealant, or paint layers. Apply the sodium silicate solution directly into and around the crack using the trigger sprayer, saturating the visible crack surface and the immediately surrounding wall area to a distance of approximately 6 inches on either side of the crack. Allow the solution to penetrate the concrete for approximately 15 minutes, then apply a second saturating coat. Allow the second coat to penetrate for another 15 minutes, then apply a third and final coat. The 3-coat application ensures adequate penetration into the microscopic porosity of the surrounding concrete and provides enough sodium silicate material for the calcium silicate hydrate precipitation reaction to fully seal every void connected to the crack. Allow the treated area to cure undisturbed for approximately 72 hours. The completed treatment is invisible to visual inspection, chemically bonded to the wall material, and permanently sealed against future water infiltration. For the polyurethane injection approach, appropriate for cracks between 1/16 and 1/4 inch in width, the required materials are 1 tube of injection-grade polyurethane sealant sold under brand names including Sika PU1A, Emicoli 121, and various equivalents, at retail prices between $15 and $35 per tube, a standard caulking gun to dispense the material, nitrile chemical-resistant gloves, safety glasses, a putty knife or plastic scraper, and a small squeeze bottle of clean water for the required moisture activation. Clean the crack as described for the sodium silicate approach. Mist the crack lightly with clean water from the squeeze bottle. The polyurethane injection chemistry requires the presence of small amounts of moisture inside the crack to activate the expansion reaction. Cut the tip of the polyurethane injection tube at approximately a 45-degree angle, mount the tube in the caulking gun, and inject a slow, steady bead of sealant directly into the crack, starting at the bottom and working upward. Apply enough pressure to fill the crack completely. As the crack fills, the sealant will expand and rise, sometimes emerging through small side channels that connect to the main crack path. This is expected and desirable, as it indicates the sealant is finding and filling every connected void. Allow the injected polyurethane to cure undisturbed for approximately 24 hours. After curing, use a putty knife to trim any excess material that emerged from the crack, leaving a smooth, flush repair that can be painted over if desired. The critical, honest disclosure about both chemistries is that they are appropriate for non-structural hairline and shrinkage cracks in poured concrete walls, and they are not appropriate for structural cracks, actively moving cracks, or crack patterns indicating foundation settling or structural failure. A crack that has widened noticeably over the past year, a crack with visible offset between the two sides of the crack, a crack accompanied by visible movement in the surrounding wall material, or a crack pattern that follows a diagonal or stair-step pattern indicating foundation settlement, all require professional structural evaluation before any do-it-yourself sealing approach is attempted. The do-it-yourself chemistry seals cracks. The do-it-yourself chemistry does not repair structural damage. A homeowner who cannot confidently distinguish between a non-structural shrinkage crack and a structural failure crack should hire a professional foundation inspection before proceeding with any do-it-yourself repair. The typical inspection cost runs between $200 and $500 and provides definitive guidance on whether do-it-yourself treatment is appropriate for the specific crack pattern observed on the specific wall in the specific home. The safety protocol for both chemistries requires specific handling precautions that popular DIY sources tend to understate. Polyurethane injection sealants contain diisocyanate compounds during the pre-cured liquid phase, which are known respiratory sensitizers capable of producing chemical asthma in individuals with repeated exposure. Wear nitrile gloves, safety glasses, and a basic organic vapor respirator during application. Work in a ventilated space with adequate airflow, either by opening basement windows or by running an exhaust fan for the duration of the application. Do not perform the work in a completely sealed basement without ventilation. Sodium silicate solution is a strongly alkaline material at working concentration, chemically similar to caustic soda in its skin and eye contact effects. Wear the same personal protective equipment and immediately flush any accidentally exposed skin with copious clean water. Do not allow the chemistry to contact food preparation surfaces, drinking water sources, or areas where children or pets might have direct skin contact. Once fully cured, both chemistries are chemically inert and safe to occupy in the surrounding environment. A homeowner in central Ohio inherited a 1962 single-story ranch home with a full poured concrete basement in 2019. The property came with a documented history of recurring basement moisture problems along the east foundation wall, driven by a documented seasonal high water table condition in the surrounding soil. A local foundation waterproofing contractor quoted him $19,500 for a combined exterior excavation and interior drainage installation with a projected 6-day construction timeline. He declined the quote, identified 4 individual hairline cracks in the east wall through visual inspection, purchased 2 tubes of Sika PU1A polyurethane injection sealant and 1 quart of industrial-grade sodium silicate solution at a total material cost of approximately $85, and performed the crack injections and sodium silicate saturation treatment across a single Saturday afternoon. 6 years later, the east basement wall remains fully dry across every seasonal condition, including the spring 2023 flooding event that produced record-high groundwater levels across his entire county. He has performed no additional maintenance on the treated wall across the entire 6-year period. The professional waterproofing quote he declined was approximately 230 times the actual material cost he spent. A second case from a young couple in coastal Rhode Island who purchased a home built in 1955, a 2-story colonial, in 2022 with active water infiltration along the entire perimeter of the basement foundation. Multiple visible cracks in the poured concrete walls, plus a documented moisture problem at the wall-to-slab joint around the entire basement perimeter. A local foundation contractor quoted them $31,000 for a complete interior drainage system with sump pump installation and vapor barrier application across all interior wall surfaces. They declined the quote, purchased 5 tubes of Sika polyurethane injection sealant, 2 quarts of sodium silicate solution, plus a small budget of additional supplies including caulking guns, application tools, and personal protective equipment at a total material cost of approximately $240. They performed the complete crack injection and wall treatment across 3 consecutive weekends in late summer of 2022. 3 years later, the basement remains fully dry across every season, including 2 documented major nor'easter storm events that produced record rainfall totals for the region. The couple has since refinished the basement into functional living space, adding approximately 850 square feet of usable floor area to their home, a project that would not have been possible without first solving the moisture problem for essentially the material cost of a nice dinner rather than the professional quote of $31,000. The American residential foundation waterproofing industry generates approximately $2.1 billion in annual revenue across ongoing service contracts, initial waterproofing installations, and reactive treatment for water damage events. The industry business model depends on the systematic professional handling of a problem that, for the vast majority of American residential moisture cases, could be handled by the homeowner personally using retail available chemistry at material costs between $85 and $240 per house. The chemistry is not proprietary. The application technique is not specialized. The information has been continuously available in professional trade publications, industrial supplier technical documentation, and academic construction materials journals for the entire modern era. It has simply been kept off the mainstream residential construction conversation by the specific economic architecture of the professional service industry that generates enormous margins from managing problems the customer could solve directly if the customer knew the specific chemistry and technique the professional uses to solve the same problem. If this changed how you look at the small crack in the basement wall of your own home, hit the like button and subscribe. There is a small movement of people right now rebuilding the connection to the knowledge that was quietly displaced from the consumer market by industries that had every reason to keep it displaced. We share what we find. We do not let it disappear a second time. Thanks for watching.